Party people, welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer, and this week on the show, I am joined by Sarah Gailey for a game of We Did Start the Fire. Sarah is an award-winning, best-selling author whose work ranges from speculative fiction to short stories, comics, essays, and more. Their 2025 novel Spread Me, a darkly seductive tale of an alien invasion at a research station and all of the temptation that follows, was named one of the best horror books of 2025 by Vulture, and their new novel, Make Me Better, an eerily seductive look at the desire of community connection and self-improvement in the darkest places inside us all, just landed in stores this week. You can find more information about all of Sarah's work by going to sarahgailey.com or check the show notes for more information. We sat down to play We Did Start the Fire by Morgan Eilish, a game about, well, the people that ended the world and how they feel about it. It is a game that is at times darkly funny, at times deeply emotionally intense, and always gripping and captivating as you stare into the eyes of the people capable of incredibly evil things and how those people live with what they've done. You can find the game at morganeilish.itch.io or again, check the show notes for more information.
Hey there, I'm Star Master Jeff of the Dark Star Adventure Cast, a sci-fi actual play where every choice matters, every danger is real, and nothing stays buried in the dark between the stars. Follow the crew of the Scapegoat through heists, gang wars, and something ancient moving through the void. Critics call it lean, cinematic, and immersive. New episodes every other Tuesday at darkstaradventures.com, and keep following that signal.
And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I am thrilled today. I am sitting down with Sarah Gailey. Sarah, thanks so much for coming on Party of One.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so amped to be here.
This is going to be great. I've been looking at the game. I've got the game in front of me that we're going to be playing, and it's just, it's all looming very big in front of me, and I'm really fired up. But before we get into the game that we are playing, why don't you take a moment, let our lovely listeners at home know about what you've got going on you might want them to know about.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm just so excited to be here. As soon as I heard from you, I was like, hell yeah, let's go. I just had a book come out called Spread Me. It is my erotic horror novella take on John Carpenter's classic horror film, The Thing. It's a lot of fun, very gross, very wet book, and I hope that your listeners will either enjoy it or be transformed by it.
Incredible collection of words. I need to note this. There's nothing that I love more than hearing a pitch and having the immediate responses. Well, hey, fuck you! Like, hey, don't call me out like this. I didn't come here to be attacked.
I've been really enjoying reader responses that say, I am deeply uncomfortable with how turned on I was by this disgusting book.
Incredible listener or incredible reader feedback. That's the goal, I think.
Oh yeah, the dream is to awaken things in people, and from what I'm hearing, that some folks are waking up to desires that they do not want to have.
Incredible. I'm so delighted by this. Well, fantastic. I cut you off because I got too excited. Anything else that you want to shout out?
Well, other than that, I am about to wrap up the publication that I've been running for this last year. It's called Love Letters, Reasons to Be Alive. Listeners can read all of the essays in this publication over at my website, Stone Soup, where I have been featuring some truly incredible authors writing about the experiences and objects that have kept them going through hard times, including some gorgeous work by creators like Peter S. Beagle, Lucy Bellwood. We have Amal El-Motar coming out to close out the year, including original art by artists like Liana Kangas and Trung Le Nguyen. And I'm really just feeling profoundly fortunate to have gotten to do this past year. The goal of the project is to give handholds to people who are having a hard time right now. And I think some of your listeners may relate to having a hard time given the state of the world. So I just hope that they'll find something there.
I I mean, yeah, I can relate. I understand. There's an energy in the air that maybe we need some things to hold on to at the moment, and so like,
Yeah.
you are perhaps speaking words into the void that are reaching into my heart and soul. Which you know what? That's the magic of the work.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Speaking of, I think maybe the furthest possible emotional space from that work, we are sitting down today to blow up the world.
Yes.
We have a game in front of us, which is We Did Start the Fire. This is a game about a group of individuals who 1 year ago caused the apocalypse. This is a game, a Descended from the Queen game, so we have a deck of cards in front of us that are going to tell us about who we are. We're going to get to know the people that destroyed the world in the fateful meeting that they have 1 year after the fact. It will not end well for us, and a lot of things are going to come to light. It is an emotionally heavy game, but we've talked about the things that we don't want to see come up. But I'm going to ask you this. I threw some games your way. This was the one that jumped out. What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? What are you bringing to the table as we sit down to play?
I mean, I love Descended from the Queen games. I think the structure is just really great. I really enjoy...
I love them so much. I really do.
They're so good. I really enjoy collaborative improvisational storytelling. And this structure that really dives into like regret or the lack thereof is such a cool vibe. I'm really excited about it.
I'm so stoked. It's dark and it's heavy, and it's one that like I love the feeling when I'm sitting down with a game and I feel a little bit intimidated because I'm like, this is gonna go places and it's gonna expose me and me feeling a little vulnerable. But like, there's a magic to leaning into that, and I think this game is really gonna channel that. I am really excited. I think that we'll start the game. I mean, I think that we'll honor the structure of the game. We've got our rules cards in front of us, and we can take turns flipping them and reading them. I will read the first rules card. I'm going to click it. I'm going to hover it. I'm going to zoom in and just say, the apocalypse arrived 1 year ago, and you are to blame. You and the team of people before you have created the project that ultimately doomed everyone. You're meeting up to debrief after all this time. The setting information, instructions, and player prompts are all delivered via deck of cards. We will also need a D6 for the end card. Would you like to flip the next card and read the next bit of rules text?
I would love to. Place the X card in the center of the table within reach of every player. Conveniently, it is within reach of both of us since it's on our separate computers. If at any point a player does not want to engage with or include a prompt or topic in the game, they may tap the X card to remove it. A player can X card prompts that they draw, prompts that other players draw, responses that any player gives to a prompt or question, or any other content that may arise during play without requiring an explanation for why they want the content removed from the game. Now, since we're doing this remotely, how would you like to tap the X card in such a way that we both notice?
I've just now noticed that the way that I set it up is that if you click it and it flips, that one side is red and the other side is white. So if you just click it and it lights up, that'll tell me that it has been flipped.
Great.
Okay, yeah. If we flip it and see if we flip the X card and there's a red border on it, that means that we have flipped it. Also, I can see where your cursor is throughout the process, so like I can see if you're kind of hovering around it.
Great.
Okay. Shuffle the prompt cards and place the end card into the middle of the deck or towards the bottom half, depending on how long of a game you wish for. Let each player take turns drawing a prompt card. On your turn, you can choose to either read the card aloud and answer it, or hand it to the next player in turn order and say you'd like for them to answer the question, or discard the card and draw a new one. So I have here the end card set aside. Because we are playing a little funky, what I think we'll do is we've got the full 55 card deck in front of us. I'm going to watch the clock, and when we hit sort of a halfway point of answering questions, I'll grab a certain number of cards, shuffle the end card in, and we'll do it that way. It's a little bit of breaking the structure, but sometimes you got to break some eggs to make a podcast.
Great. Sounds good. You can answer the card prompts as simply or elaborately as you wish, and the other players may suggest additions to your response, or ask that you follow up questions which you may choose to accept or ignore. Sorry, I misread that. Or ask you follow up questions which you may choose to accept or ignore. If you are passed a card, you may answer it, pass it to the player following you in turn order, or discard it and draw a new prompt. The original player's turn ends when they pass you the card, and yours ends when you either answer a card or pass it to the next player.
Once you draw the end card, each player takes a turn answering it and rolls a d6 to determine how successful their attempt to escape law enforcement was. The game ends after every player resolves their role. So with that, we are ready to flip our first card. The one thing that I will say, having played a lot of Descended from the Queen games with two people, is like, we are here, but feel free to like add additional fictitious people in the room with us. Like, you know, whether the characters that we are embodying, feel free to jump around and flesh out this meeting of world ruiners to be whoever we want to be in the room as we start to answer these questions and prompts. All right. Would you like to flip the first card, or would you like me to flip the first card?
Ooh, I'll do it.
All right.
All right, and just to confirm, either I'm answering this card or I'm passing it to you.
You can answer this card, or you can pass it to me to answer.
Right. You have a new job in this post-apocalyptic world. In what way is it better than your old job? In what ways is it worse? Whew.
What a good first question to start out with.
Oh, it's a really good one. It's a really good one. You know, I wouldn't have expected to enjoy and be fulfilled by Toad Collection as much as I am. In the old world, in my old life, I really had only ever touched a toad once, outside of a lab context, obviously. Which doesn't quite count because a lab toad is so different from a wild toad. And when that happened, I was a little kid, and it just scared the piss out of me. It's why I ended up in the line of work that I did, because I never wanted that to happen to me again. And so, of course, I pursued the Untouchable Toad Project. But now I touch, 400 to 600 toads a day. And there's something so peaceful about it. The way they sing when you touch them, it produces a frequency that kind of just seems to resonate the past away. And so I get to spend most of my day in a dissociative fugue. Of course, it's worse than my old job because when the dissociative fugue wears off, I get the withdrawal symptoms. But, you know, you take the good with the bad.
Okay, great. There's so much about that prompt. I'm taking a moment to process. Good. Okay, Untouchable Toad project, Toad Collection, impeccable. We are one prompt in, and I'm like, we got it. We're done. I'm calling wrap. Okay. If you could go back in time and change anything about the plan or how it unfolded, would you? And what would you change? Another really, really, really good prompt to kick us off.
Yeah, this is tasty.
I think it would be easy to say I would change it so that we had control over the project and that the situation did not spiral out of hand. I think that would be the easy answer. But I don't know if that's quite the case. I don't know if that's quite what applies here. I think maybe the more accurate answer, if I'm being honest with myself, which I don't know that in the current circumstances there is reason not to be honest with ourselves. I think I must admit that if I were to change anything, it would be to zero in the chaos and the carnage a little bit. It would have been nice to, as the world was burning, as the toad lashed out, to get to point that in a direction. Instead of just sort of watching it happen. You know, I could claim, I would love to be in control, and I would love to be in the toad's mind, and I would love to, you know, be the lord of this event, but the truth is it would have been nice to just watch the parts of the world burn that I wanted to watch the worlds burn. It is, I think, maybe foolhardy to assume that I would be able to hold the reins of the untouchable toad for more than an instant. And I just wish that I got to maybe point it in a direction.
I'm over here, giving you little beatnik finger snaps of agreement.
Love it. Love it.
You ensured that this plan would be as destructive as possible while still accomplishing its actual goal. Why did you feel that the world deserved what you did?
Oh, what a question to get immediately after my card.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, well.
Wow.
Well, it turns out my character disagrees with yours. I hear you that you wish we could have directed the destruction and agony that the untouchable toad kind of inflicted on an indiscriminate population. But honestly, I don't think you and I would have picked the same target. And in order to control the untouchable toad's direction in any way, we would have had to been capable of working together. And, as much as we're capable of collaborating in certain areas, I just don't think that we would have picked the same direction to point that endless torment. And as such, we would have just ended up killing each other in the process. And frankly, I don't think I could take you, so I think I would have ended up dead at your hands, which may satisfy you on some level, but on another level, probably you would have ended up racked with guilt at knowing that the greater intellect was removed from the game at that point. So, and the world writ large really deserves this torment for not appreciating what we're capable of.
I jolted up in my chair when you said the greater intellect. I sat straight up. My posture has never been better. I guess the follow-up question that I want to throw to you is is that a conversation that we had beforehand? Like, is that inability for us to view the end goal on the same terms, like, is that a disagreement that we had, or was that an unspoken truth that was between us in the before times?
Oh, I think we probably not only discussed it, but we probably were called into meetings for others to discuss it with us. I'm guessing we were on a shared performance improvement plan put on your get along shirt version. I think speaking from a more objective standpoint, obviously it takes two great intellects to make an untouchable toad. And when one of them refers to themselves as the greater intellect, as with force of habit, you have to assume that they are being so interpersonally destructive to everyone around them at all times.
Sure. Totally. Yeah. You're right in that it's a normal and healthy thing to refer to yourself as the superior intellect. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, and this is great. Immediately this gives me a lot to latch on to as far as like a clear picture of, because like I hear that phrase and I hear the framing of like the superior intellect, coupled with the answer of like, I never want to touch a toad in my life, and immediately where my brain goes is, I'll flesh this out in further answers, but like there is an immediate sort of perspective that comes to mind of where my head is at as I flip this next card is there is a kind of perception of like specialized insight that sometimes that like is easy to maybe brush off, and like immediately I'm drawn towards the idea of being a frog expert that is being discounted as lesser. I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind.
Yes,
you failed to
I'm
avoid
over here being the dilettante. Oh, I love it.
This hits. You failed to avoid taking some of the blame for causing the apocalypse. How has that negatively impacted your future plans? Great question. I think. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. I'm really leaning in.
Let's go. Let's fucking go.
I should have been the face of the Untouchable Toad Project. It was my toad. And yet, somehow, what happened, the story that came after, was that I was a cog in the machine. Was that I was a patsy. Was that I was the vessel through which vengeance was channeled and not the originator point of that vengeance. I was framed as the facilitator, and in the back of my mind, I believe that I should be heralded as the heart of the dawning of a new age. You can't have an Untouchable Toad project without a toad. No matter what they say, no matter what they tell you, that has to be there. And yet somehow, when people assess what happened and they talk about it, and I hear the stories, and I've spent the last year hearing whispers in hollowed out bars that have been converted into survival shelters, I have heard that they used one of my toads. It wasn't that I gave one of my toads. It wasn't that the Untouchable Toad Project fell apart if I wasn't there to provide the toad and to channel with the toad and to commune with the toad and to be there to be the other half of the toad. It was that I was a fish tank. I was the tender of a fish tank. And now I'm just some fucking guy. I've spent the last year as some fucking guy. And I should be so much more.
I have a follow-up question.
Gimme.
Are you currently still profoundly connected to the Untouchable Toad?
That's such a good question. And it will immediately color. I think in the back of it's so exciting to me that that's such an exciting possibility that the answer is absolutely. And like, I think what it is, and I think this colors maybe like the status of the world, is that I hear it's out there. I don't know where, but I can hear it. I can feel it on the back of my neck. I can, no matter what, it is like a compass pointing me towards true north at all times in the back of my mind. I can tell you the direction in which it is resting, somewhere in the abyss or the cosmos or another dimension or wherever it is now. And I don't have an answer to that, and I'm excited to see if we find the answer to where the Untouchable Toad is at this moment. But I can tell you the direction in which it is in relation to me at all times. I just know that it's out there, and I can feel it.
Your toad sense is not diminished.
My toad sense is tingling 24/7.
Beautiful. No one outside this team knows of your involvement. How did you keep it a secret? I tried so hard to point every eyeball to that little frog freak I had to work with. They were so about that fucking toad. And so, of course, when the toad became what it became, I mean, after the levitation, which we were all very excited about.
It was a great day. We can't deny that.
It was a great day. I actually felt some kinship with the little frog freak that day because we were both so excited. But after the rest of it happened, I told everyone that it was his fault. And it didn't work because they all said, what, the fish tank keeper, the janitor, the one who just whispers to that toad and skulks around its tank? They didn't believe me, but they believed the part that deflected attention from me. And that's how I wanted it. Because you can't create a second untouchable Toad if everyone's eyes are on you all the time. So it's quite beneficial to, seem like all your experiments failed and someone else or something else or some cosmic coincidence or some comet passing overhead created this situation, and to pick up a job collecting the toads that fill the streets at the beckoning of the untouchable Toad. Here's the thing. That little amphibian pervert seemed to think that he was the only one with access to toads. And because I didn't want to find toads anywhere else, I said, yeah, we can use your quote-unquote special toad for my very important research. But now I have all the toads a researcher could possibly hope for. There's no ethics committees anymore. There's no oversight. They're all dead. I can do whatever I want. I've got a shipping container an acre from here, brimming with toads. And I've got access to a lot of unrefined uranium ore. Because, again, there's no guards. They all died. So, my secret has benefited me, even as galling as it is to be overlooked. It won't last for long. People will know soon enough.
I think my follow-up question for you is, people don't think that you were involved, and they think that I was only tangentially involved. So I want to throw this to you and say, do we think that a third character, do we think that someone else got the credit as being the mastermind of the operation? Do we think that, is it perceived as just a natural freak disaster? Is there a perception that there was a comet overhead? What do you see as what is the story that is told about the day of the Toad?
The number of conspiracy theories that these small-minded people who managed to survive the untouchable Toad incident can come up with is incredible. I mean, none of them have two brain cells to rub together. They don't know shit about string theory, but they're out here able to come up with narratives that involve, frankly, a staggering number of racist ideas about all kinds of marginalized groups, and attributing those groups with horrible intentions toward just about everybody else, all in the name of inventing a story that, first of all, doesn't risk crediting a fish tank scrubbing little weirdo, and also doesn't risk crediting the greatest genius of their generation with what happened. It takes almost no work to misdirect them. All I have to do is go into one of those shelled out bars and drop a toad in the middle of the floor and say, you won't believe what neighborhood I found this in, and then they're off to the races.
Incredible. Also, it really, the level of Toad contempt, immaculate. I need to call this out. Okay. Yep. Nope. This is I got the answer to this question immediately.
Oh yeah.
There's only one answer that feels right for this. The apocalypse took someone important from you, and why can't you mourn them? It was a great day when Marigold levitated. It was a phenomenal day. It was a day that she and I had talked about for months. I heard her, from the moment that I heard her ask the question, hello, I knew it was coming. It was only a matter of time. The question started small. Hi, my name is, now I have to think of a name.
You're not gonna beat Marigold. I'm sorry, that's genius.
Marigold hits.
Oh god.
Hi, my name is Charlie. You can call me the Toad Keeper. And from that first conversation, Marigold and I were inseparable, and I could tell the pride that she could take, the pride that she took once she understood pride as a concept and was able to process that that was an emotion that she could feel. The pride that she could feel in pushing the bounds of what her abilities could do. The day that she levitated, she said to me, "This is the day that I become whole." She said to me, "This is the day that I do what I was meant to do." And I watched it get bigger and bigger from there. And we walked together, in mindscapes and in dreams, we walked together. And I saw her reach out further and further and talk to more and more toads. And in each of these dreams, there were more toads and more toads. And she became one with more and more entities. And I watched this beautiful, wonderful, marvel of modern science, this evolution of what natural life was capable of, become herself. And it was all that I've ever wanted. And now I sit and I walk and I stare out into the abyss, knowing that my child, my friend, my mentee, my student, my life's greatest accomplishment is out there somewhere. And she is separated from her domain, and she is separated from her disciples, and she is separated from her subjects. And all I can do is hope and wait and go from site to site and see if any of the sigils that I have put in place might signal to her a way home so that she can be reunited with her home and her domain and her divine kingdom. Instead of hearing all of the things that my friend Marigold used to say, I just hear the bitterness and hatred of all of those other toads complaining and quietly seething and plotting and planning about the person that is tending to them instead. Because I can't bear to be around them because they remind me too much of Marigold.
That was beautiful. That's heartbreaking. I have a follow-up question, Charlie. How did you and Marigold first meet?
Same way that I met most toads. Brought into the facility. In a fish tank. Let loose into the lab. She had her little area. It was pretty much the same as all the other areas, but this was Marigold's area. And, living creatures, toads especially. I guess this is true of all living creatures, but, toads are my specialty. Toads are the entity that I get. I understand toads. They have an ability to make a home in a space that is incredibly relatable, and also kind of beautiful. And I watched Marigold make this space her little tank, and then the experiments started, and, there was the radiation, and the changes started to happen immediately, but I could, even before she spoke, I remember seeing Marigold in her little tank, staring very still for a toad, in a way that was almost alarming. And I could tell, I don't know how I could tell, I guess I just know toads, but I could tell she was looking out. And the thing that I saw in her little toad eyes was ambition. And I could tell that was pretty special to see in a toad.
I'm such a Marigold fan right now. I'm
Marigold's real breakout character.
I'm Team Marigold all the fucking way.
That question really anchored me in who the character that I'm most excited about is, and a toad that had ambition of I'm gonna become the psychic maelstrom that destroys the world. That's a vibe. That's a hook right there.
I'm voting for Marigold.
Yep, 100%.
All right. What was the first step to implement your scheme? Okay. We said we're going to be honest with each other at this point.
There's no reason not to be.
There's no reason not to be. So I will be honest with you. The first step in implementing my scheme was getting the Toad Boy to eat an irradiated hard-boiled egg. It wasn't difficult. It was the exact same kind of irradiated hard-boiled egg that we fed to the test subject. I don't remember what it is that the Toad Boy called her, Daisy or something. We made a batch of hard-boiled eggs, which we then deviled, but instead of mayonnaise and paprika being added to the yolks, it was a combination of enriched uranium or boron, plutonium, cobalt, and paprika for color. And we gave, one half of a hard-boiled egg to the test subject in the tank, and we gave the other half of the hard-boiled egg to the test subject outside the tank. Frankly, I just did it for fun. I mean, obviously I was working on the toad, but I wanted to see what would happen to the guy. And what was his name? Let's go. Daisy Part 2. Ate it without asking any questions. I just left it in the lab fridge with a sticky note on it that had my name and said, "Do not eat." And about 15 minutes later, it was gone. Step 1 was so much easier than I thought it would be. I thought I would have to play little mental games and drop hints and maybe do something to make him in some way upset or alienated, but I guess he felt upset and alienated all on his own.
This is not a follow-up question, but I might say I have a response, like a follow-up response that is in the back of my mind. To the untrained eye, to someone too self-absorbed to see the bigger picture, it might appear that the actions that I took that day were happenstance, were the result of manipulation. To someone that fails to see the bigger picture, perhaps. And I'm fine with that. It's not everyone that can understand the momentous nature of the draw towards fulfilling one's destiny, but to others, the decision to eat an odd-looking egg in the fridge might appear to be foolhardiness, gullibility, but those people couldn't see what had been shown to me and what I knew in my heart could be possible if true human toad potential had been reached. This plan was bigger than anyone could possibly comprehend. And until it didn't, for a while at least, it went frankly swimmingly.
Absolutely spectacular. I'm really enjoying the depth of thought and philosophy that your character has, while mine has a shipping container full of toads and is putting random irradiated material into them and is like, I'm a genius.
I love it a lot. I love also that it's like there's a carelessness that has led to forward momentum, and there's a depth of philosophy that has led to an absolute stalling out of everything, right? Like there's complete stalled momentum that this grand ambition has completely fallen short, whereas fucking around has not yet led to finding out. You are working on... Here we go.
Of course you are.
All right.
Of course you are.
Great follow-up to what I just said. You are working on a scheme that will result in further devastation. What lessons did you learn from causing the apocalypse that you plan to apply to this? This ties in perfectly because I was thinking about this with my previous responses as I listened to your last answer. I see where Marigold and I both went wrong. We were two halves of a whole. We were two pieces of a plan much larger than either of us. And the problem with two pieces, with two links in a chain, is that chain can be severed. That link can be broken. And so, in the last year, I have been separated from the untouchable Toad, from my Marigold, and I have wandered. I have wandered from safe house to safe house, from community to community, until such a time that I could no longer be present around my peers, because I got to a point where I could no longer visibly hide what my body and what I was becoming. And so now I go from swamp to swamp, from bog to bog, and I await the final set of changes to occur. And every day I wake up and I sit on the water and I sit a little bit higher on the surface of the water, and I'll be damned if yesterday I didn't sit 6 inches above it. It was a great day. It was a really wonderful scientific celebration. And I can't wait to see what I get to do tomorrow.
The way I just had to jam my whole fist in my mouth to keep from banging on my desk and yelling, "Fuck yeah!" Holy shit.
I'm having to do that after every round. This is incredible.
Oh my god. We are cooking.
We are cooking.
What have you been working on since causing the apocalypse? This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing because I have to admit to not succeeding so far in my efforts. And normally I'm fine with that. There's no such thing as a failed experiment. Even when the outcome is not what you predicted, you get data. And so there's no such thing as a failed experiment, and there's no wasted effort, except for when the effort itself is an embarrassing aim. I've been looking for the little toad freak who was best friends with my test subject. I've been looking for him everywhere. Earlier, I said I didn't remember his name, and that wasn't true. Okay, that wasn't true. I wanted you to think I couldn't remember his name because I don't want him to be important. Charlie is in the wind. I haven't been able to find him. And I'm not saying I need him for further experimentation, but I have a shipping container full of toads on the outskirts of town, and I don't know how to take care of them. And they keep dying before I can get them to levitate. So I took this job as toad collector so I could get into neighborhoods and get into houses and get into backyards because I'm trying to find him. I know he didn't die, but I haven't been able to find him fucking anywhere. And now tonight, I come into this basement to hide from the authorities, which, by the way, I shouldn't have to. There's something they seem to not like about you keeping a shipping container full of irradiated toads. And it's like the last place that I haven't looked for him. I'm keeping my eyes peeled. It is mortifying to admit that I've been putting any effort toward this.
I have a follow-up question based on that answer. That has been burning a hole in my pocket. Every time I heard you say him, it has been burning a hole in my pocket to ask this question.
I'm so ready.
How long after you walked into this room did you realize that Charlie was in here hiding out of sight?
I still haven't realized it because I haven't looked up.
Oh, that's fuck. Fuck. Great. Good. Oh,
and
hell
that's,
yeah. Good.
That's been the problem this whole time. I usually have my eyes on the ground or up to like average human eye level as Toad Collector. And I'm also normally in human spaces, and so I just haven't seen him. But today I've got to hide from the authorities, and the easiest place is in the basement of the old vivarium at the zoo. And so, of course, I'm not looking up, I'm looking down because I don't know if the snakes and toads that were kept here before the apocalypse maybe got out. And I certainly, excuse me, do not want any of them to touch me. That is the point. That is the point of all this, is that they don't touch me. So I have to look down to make sure they don't touch me, because if one touches me, I don't know what will happen.
Good. Oh my gosh. Great. Okay. So I have taken 15 cards, and I have shuffled the end card somewhere into this deck.
Oh,
if
boy.
we get far enough in, if it's truly at like card 15 of 16, we may just call it at some. We can always just say the next card is our last card, but somewhere in this deck there is our end card.
Great.
Was the plan successful in achieving what it was meant to achieve, despite it also causing the apocalypse? Momentarily, at least from Marigold's perspective, the plan was to make a god. We've certainly done that, at least until the psychic maelstrom got too great and she vanished. The one piece that she and I and the brainiac, the snob, the rude one, the one piece that we hadn't considered is like when Marigold's psychic powers manifested and when she became in the presence of other people, how their emotional state and their psychic landscapes and their mindscapes would impact with Marigold's everything. And so it all got to be too much, and we lost control, and the sky shattered, and in the blink of an eye, she was gone. But if you were to ask me, and I suppose the question for my associate, if they got what they wanted, that's up to them. But Marigold and I, we got what we wanted. We certainly got what we wanted. If I could change anything, it would just be to be able to revel in that for just a little bit longer.
I have a follow-up question. And
yes.
This is like, this can get answered in character or by you as a narrator, but I'm just curious if you think that this experiment made one god or two.
I think the experiment as conducted made a god and a scion, a god and an avatar, a god and an instrument. And had things not gone wrong, I would have been thrilled with that. It was, after all, a moment of achieving my destiny. Now, for the experiment that is to come, the reason that I have quieted the anger and the murmurs among the toads in the shipping crate, and I have held back their murderous intent, is for the experiment to come, well, then it might escalate an instrument into a second god, but it will be in defiance of the role that I am meant to play, which is to be an acolyte, a preacher, an instrument of a greater being. I will be forced to become a greater being myself to restore the natural order, which is the greater being that was created.
Beautiful. I'm drawing from these 15 over here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. You were the mastermind behind the plan. I'm aware. Did it work as you expected? Of course the plan didn't work as I expected. First of all, I don't really appreciate this question as much as I do appreciate being acknowledged for the genius that I am. Second of all, who left this card here? This basement is supposed to be a hiding place, but it seems like I was anticipated. I am hungry, so I do appreciate this little snack plate in front of me, but the card indicates that I'm not stumbling upon a secret cache of treats that someone left behind by mistake, but that they were left here for me. Oh my god. I'm almost as stupid as that little toad man. This is a thank you card. These are appreciation snacks. You were the mastermind behind the plan. Someone sees and understands my genius and has left me a lovely little tray of what is this? What do we have? Oh, a parfait? I haven't seen granola in a year. I cannot express how badly I need the fiber right now. My constant low-level exposure to the radiation that I'm subjecting my shipping container full of toads to has got me backed up. Well, I will be enjoying this leisurely, as I'm sure I need to hide down here for some time while I wait out the imbeciles that are trying to hunt me down. No, the plan did not work as I expected. But, as I said before, there is no such thing as a failed experiment. I got data. I learned exactly how much enriched uranium ore it takes to make a toad levitate. 1/2 deviled eggs worth, plus a few extra granules in her water dish. I learned that I'm capable of greater things than I ever could have imagined. I learned that just as surely God could create a rock so large he himself could not lift it, I am capable of having such brilliant ideas that even I myself can't execute them on the first try. And I don't think that's such a bad thing. And I think it's a nice touch that there are raspberries in the parfait.
From above you, in a voice that is gurgling and wet, call it a toast to the second chapter of what is to come.
Oh, it's really bad. Oh, I don't want to look up, but I know I have to look up. I look up. Do I see Charlie right away, or is it shadowy? Is he skulking?
The silhouette of a frog like human like silhouette amongst like the shadow and the flickering like fluorescent light is visible like along some I was gonna say along rafters, but truly it is like clinging to the clinging to the ceiling. Like it is stuck to the ceiling like a spider.
Phenomenal. I have a spoonful of yogurt and granola halfway to my mouth, and I just drop it directly onto my shirt front as I stare up into the glowing, nictitating eyes of the only other person who was ever as close to the Untouchable Toad project as I was.
Incredible. Incredible. As I flip this card, I think like flops down, you hear that sort of like squawk of like the unsticking of fingers and toes to the roof as slops down, a slime sheen on water bloated, like waterlogged skin, still like flesh colored, but like toad like. I don't think I've changed to a green, but I do think first off, okay, great. I flipped the next prompt, but yeah, decidedly Toad Man energy. Some of your co-conspirators are working on a plan to undo the destruction that you all caused. Why do you think they haven't told you?
Maribel,
Such a good card to flip as we are staring down at each other. they want to close the maelstrom. They want to close the schism in the sky. You know this. You've seen it. You've heard the murmurs. And I know, if I know you, like you like to pretend that I don't, I know that it's eating you up in the back of your brain, that you were not brought into the shadowy think tank of individuals that were going to be tasked with constructing the device that would close the schism in the sky and bring some wholeness back to the world. I know that that all of this, that Marigold being seen as some freak accident or some convenient scapegoat on the powerless, all of these things not sitting as a crown on your head, no matter how much you like to claim otherwise. I know that it's eating you alive, because partially it's eating me alive, and we, no matter how much you like to claim that I am beneath you, are, well, and I think like we see a little bit of the reflection of the frog man that he is. We are, in some ways, a mirror reflection of one another. And so I am here making myself known to you now, and I bring you this olive branch to tell you that we are at the start of a new chapter. And they are going to try, as best they can, to close that schism and undo the good work that we did, and I am presenting you the opportunity to begin new work that is even better. What do you say?
I'm peering at this toad man very intently and wiping at the yogurt on my shirt. And I just say, I'm sorry, have we met before? Do I know you? What gives you hope that things aren't as bad as they initially seemed? Well, it's very nice that apparently I have a fan among the mutants. I mean, I appreciate this parfait, although it tastes a little funny. I think your yogurt maybe has gone off. I don't know, though, how you people store food. What are you? You look like everything that's most hideous and repulsive about a person, combined with everything that's most hideous and repulsive about any other animal. And you're speaking to me with such incredible familiarity, as though you could ever offer me an opportunity, as though you could possibly have anything to teach me. Of course I'm not part of the effort to build that silly little machine. I'm far too intelligent and important to be part of such a grad student project. They're practically gluing together popsicle sticks. They took scrap metal from 8 different decommissioned shuttles to try and build this device. Scrap metal. Peasants.
I've been trying to be like, what's the you know who I am reveal. I've been sitting with this in the back of my mind, and I know exactly what it is. I was like, is it an opening of the third eye? Is it a psychic thing? Is it a comment? But I know exactly what it is. It is, you know who I am. You haven't opened the rest of your gift package yet. And there is a tiny styrofoam cup next to the parfait, next to the note about you being the mastermind of the Untouchable Toad project, next to a series of notes and photos of like working in the lab, and of, you know, evidence that you were involved in all of this. And underneath all of it, like, there is like a styrofoam takeout cup. Think about like
yeah, like
partially
what you would put
on my
potato
mind because I got
in.
yeah
Yeah.
partially because I got sushi for lunch yesterday, so I'm like the size of a cup of miso soup that you would get with sushi. Like, it's a small thing. You haven't opened the last item of your gift package yet. And as you reach for it, as you open it, there is inside a single hard-boiled egg. Actually, no, it's got to be there. It's got to match it exactly. Like, there is a single immaculately crafted deviled egg inside.
I'm going to look down at the deviled egg, look up at you, look down at the deviled egg, and look up at you. Well, I would hate to be selfish. Why don't we share it?
Smiles wide, and then, like, smiles wide, mouth closed, and then smiles wider, mouth still closed, and that mouth just spreads wider and wider along the face. I think that sounds immaculate. And like, maximum grossness, like lashes down with the tongue, splits the egg perfectly in half, and swallows half of it in an instant.
Phenomenal.
Let me flip this next card. Here's the thing. I think I want the next. I think like and I guess I want to throw this to you before I flip the card, before I make the declaration that I'm about to make. Do you eat the other half of the deviled egg?
Absolutely. Because
Great. I'm
on the lookout for poison. It doesn't occur to me that anything else could be happening. So when you eat half of the deviled egg, I think, okay, this freak isn't trying to poison me. So he must actually be a fan. This is very sweet. He remembers that he stole my deviled egg out of the fridge, so he thinks. He was so easy to manipulate. And now he's apologizing. And frankly, there's very few chickens left alive at this point, so it's really nice that he tracked down an egg and prepared it for me, and I'm going to enjoy it, as is my due. Frankly, it's nice to be getting some appreciation.
And I think that before I flip our end game card, like, there is a moment, and I want to know, like, how do you react to, I guess, the kind of psychic awakening connection, all of the fucky mind shit that has been described around what happened when Charlie ate that egg all that time ago?
I think I enter a coma-like fugue state, and blood just starts pouring out of my nose, because I'm experiencing not just connection with Charlie, but connection with all the toads that Charlie experiences connection with. I have come so far from the possibility of not touching a toad ever again in my life that I am touching minds with every toad. And this will absolutely break me.
And I think Charlie is like seated next to you as let me grab the end game prompt card, which is somewhere in this deck, so that I can read the text. There it is. As like doors break down above us. Hold on, I can make that zoomable. This is my note that this is edited. There it is. As doors break down, as we hear the sounds of doors breaking down above us, and we hear footsteps rushing downstairs. And this is interesting. If we can flavor this how we like. If we want to keep this detail, we can. But we hear footsteps above. We hear doors getting kicked open. Charlie is just like sits down next to you, cross-legged, and is like, I know. It happened to me too. I remember my first time, and is like seated next to you as doors break down and law enforcement is kicking down doors, interrupting our meeting to arrest and or execute all of us. What happens next?
Okay, so do we want to roll first to find out what direction this goes in?
Yeah. Let's each roll a d6. It will tell us the thing that happens. On a 1 to 2, we are killed. On a 3 to 4, we are detained. On a 5 to 6, we escape.
Okay, I'm just going to use rolladie.com or .net. My mistake. Can't believe I would say gmail.com like a fool. All right. And we're telling each other what we got?
Yeah. What did you get?
I got a 6.
I also got a 6.
Yes! I have an idea. Do you mind if I...
Hit me.
Do you mind if,
Take
I,
it,
if
take
we
it,
try
take it
this
away.
out, and if we don't like it, we can do something else? So the scientist is sitting next to you. Law enforcement is storming the old vivarium. Blood is pouring out of the scientist's nose, just a low, keening note sounding from deep inside his throat. And then he opens his eyes, and they look familiar to you. They don't look like his eyes used to look. You feel a tug along the string of consciousness that connects every toad to every other toad to you, and now to him. And when he opens his eyes, they don't look like the watery human eyes you're accustomed to. They're golden, not the iris, the entire thing. They're like a greeny gold with a vertical black pupil down the middle. And they look at you with a sort of familiarity and warmth and affection and ambition that you haven't seen in a year.
Yeah. Yes. And I think the final there's a beat. I think there is a beat as we hear doors getting kicked down, and like we are hearing people rush downstairs to this basement vivarium of just like one sentence is uttered of just, "Welcome home, Marigold. It's all gone according to plan." And we see the door get kicked down as agents break down the door. The room is completely empty, and we see the stars begin to rearrange in the sky as something greater than either of us is coming.
Beautiful. End credits.
Fuck yeah.
Will
End
Smith has
credits,
written a
that
rap
is game.
for this credit sequence, as every great film should have. Phenomenal.
Oh, that ripped. What an experience. I am screaming.
Oh my god, that was so sick.
That was sick as hell.
Your mind. It's incredible.
Oh, your mind. That was brilliant. Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Oh my god. Marigold is everything I need in a character that we barely get to meet. Like, she radiates charisma.
Yeah. As soon as she was I think we both had a moment as soon as she was put on the table of going like, "Oh, it's Marigold's show." Got
It's
it.
Marigold's show all the way. When she's not here, the audience is saying, "Where's Marigold?"
Oh, wow. Yeah, that hit like let me ask you, what was your favorite moment from play?
Ooh. I still have teeth marks in my hand from trying to shut myself up when, first of all, just when you said the name Marigold, I was like, this is genius. This is as good as it gets. And the narrative moment when you revealed that your character has been levitating in the swamp, like when you said like, I'll be damned if I wasn't 6 inches above the surface. If I didn't have corded headphones on that are connected to a sound system that my partner worked very hard to set up for me, I would have leapt out of my chair and run around the room. That was phenomenal. What about you? What was your favorite moment?
I think for me, it was it's such a small moment, but I think like it's one of those things about games where like, you know, it's when you hear when a detail becomes apparent that changes the entire course of the story. The second that you said the words Untouchable Toad Project, and immediately I was like, oh, that's the playground we're in. And it really started my brain buzzing. That, or the moment as you were answering the question, and you started explaining that you were looking for me, and you kept saying like, I need him and I need to find him. and just kind of like sitting in the back of my mind and going, I know that the game like states its premise that you're in the same place at the same time. And I was like, that feeling of hearing you say all of that and going, oh, he's in the fucking room. Oh, shit.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I wasn't sure at that point if it was that until I started saying, like, I need to find him. I hadn't been sure if we were in the same room, but I was kind of ostentatiously ignoring you, or if we were in the same room, but I didn't know you were there. Because we were not talking to each other. Yeah.
We were clearly like having our own like private moments. And it really, as soon as you started saying that, like, I started to be like it hit me, and it had that, like, I was hearing you deliver that entire monologue, having this like dawning realization of, oh, they don't know that I'm in the room. Oh, yeah. Fuck. Oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, and that's so much worse because I just described becoming a horrible distended frogman. Oh, it's so fucked to be in the room and be in a changed state and be like, hi, I'm here. Like that looming moment really, really got me fired up.
Wow. Oh man, that
went so hard is the thing.
Yeah. What the fuck? That should not have gone as hard as it did. We really did something there, my friend.
Really zero brakes. Like from moment one, we said, I don't need a brake pedal. We said, I don't need brakes on this car. I need 2 gas pedals.
2 gas pedals, no brakes.
Oh,
fantastic.
This was truly incredible. Thank you so much for this experience. I am beyond grateful. Before we wrap things up, where can people find you and your work?
People can find me and my work. First of all, everywhere you buy books, you can buy my books. My name is Sarah Gailey, and I write across genres and forms, including comics, so also at your local comic shop and at your local library. And you can also find me online. If you go to sarahgailey.com, you'll find links to everything I do. If you go to stone-soup.ghost.io, you will be able to find all of my nonfiction writing, including the essay series that I mentioned earlier in the show, Love Letters, Reasons to Be Alive. And you can also find me on the street in my community. And if you want to join me there, all you have to do is connect with your local ICE Rapid Response team, your local legal support networks, and your local volunteer groups that are working to keep your neighbors safe during a very frightening time in our country.
Fuck yeah. Fantastic. This has been an absolute delight. I am over the moon. And for now, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Sarah for coming on to the show. That game was magnificent. Like, really, truly, it is such a treasure to get to sit down with someone and, like, you find a vibe and you find that energy and you share that space together and you just keep pushing that energy further and further. It's just a really wonderful experience, and I'm so, so grateful. Be sure to check out Sarah's new book, Make Me Better, in stores now, and be sure to head to sarahgailey.com to find out everything else that they're working on. And be sure to head to morganeilish.itch.io to pick up your own copy of We Did Start the Fire. Now, if you enjoy the show and you want to support it in a very tangible way right now, there is a way that you can do that immediately. If you go to Apple, Spotify, Pocket Casts, wherever you listen to your podcasts, there's probably a review function. And if you go and leave us a 5-star review and share your favorite moment from this episode, I know what my favorite moment is, and it's a frog with a look of ambition in his eyes, all hail Marigold. But if you share your favorite moment from the episode and put it in a nice review, that really tangibly helps the show. There are people that will tell you that like boosts us in the algorithm, and that's not really the case. But what it does do is it shows audience momentum. And as we're pitching to guests further and further outside of the space, it allows us to demonstrate that there's an audience that is there and excited for the show. Recently, a guest who shall remain nameless released a video where he was saying that he wanted to guest on more podcasts, but like his agent asked him to only guest on shows that had over 100 Apple reviews. So like, know that these numbers mean something. And also, it means I get to see a thing that says a gold star that I did a good job at podcast, and that's an achievable, normal thing to want. So, like, I would like it. Anyway, as always, that's my pitch. Party of One is produced and edited, as always, by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers, and the Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. You can learn more about the show, including listening guides, recommended episodes, and more at partyofonepodcast.com. If you'd like to inquire about ad rates, press coverage, guest appearances, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And unless I am mistaken, I think that's all we do here. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.